Hello friends, it's Terry here from Cloudy Coral Designs back on the channel today. Today, I am sharing this card that I created using the Gingerbread Family die. Let's get started. Okay, so here are some of the supplies that I used. Distress oxide inks in the color Vintage Photo, Ground Espresso, Walnut Stain, Tumbled Glass, and Broken China. I am also using Copic markers, Nouveau Drops, Glossy Accents, and the Gingerbread Family die, Merry Christmas with Shadow die, Arctic Snowy Tree die, and the Scallop Circle die from the basic collection. To start off, I die cut the gingerbread man once in white cardstock and 3 in black cardstock. I am ink blending the first piece of white cardstock in a hybrid ink. I like using the lightest shade first and darker shade last. So here I am starting off with Vintage Photo and using my blending brush to go around the gingerbread die cut. Then I followed with Walnut Stain and Ground Espresso. I like using multiple shades because it gives the character a little more realistic appearance. Also, I would like to mention that there will be another giveaway today. All you have to do is be a subscriber, comment, and thumbs up. And I am so excited to announce that the winner for the Penguin Decorating Tree die is Mo Creations. Please look down in the description for directions on claiming your prize. Now, using the face die, I taped it on the back of the ink blended piece. The reason why I am placing it on the back instead of the front is to avoid the unwanted imprint from the circle of the die. This can happen when the pressure from the die cut machine is too strong. So now I am using liquid adhesive to glue the 3 black cutouts behind the ink blended piece. I am gluing 3 because I like the added dimension that it gives to the card. So now I'm using Copic markers to color in the die cuts. For the Santa hat, I am using R39, R46, W2, and W0. And for the scarf, I am using YG63 and YG25. The Gingerbread Family die set comes with a little heart die that you can use to cut out the little heart. But I am using a heart embellishment that I have in my stash to give it a little more texture. After adhering everything with liquid glue, I also went in with Nouveau Drops to add on the eyes to give it a little more life. Okay, so now for the background scene. I used the Arctic Snowy Tree die and cut that a few times in dark and light green cardstock. I wanted to create a snowy look to the die cuts, so I used my favorite white ink to apply some interest to the trees. I like doing this because it softens up the green cardstocks. What I'm doing here is rubbing the ink on the edges of the die cuts. And then I adhered the pieces together with liquid glue. Now, using a white cardstock that measures 4¼ inches by 5½ inches, I am using my blending brush and applying Distress Oxide inks in the colors Tumbled Glass and Broken China. I am not doing anything crazy here, just using one color on one end and the other on the other end. Making sure to go back and forth between the colors once I get in the center. Doing this would help create a nicer blend. Since Distress Oxide inks react with water, I spritz some water onto the palm of my hands and flick that onto the ink blended panel. Doing this will create a nice oxidation effect. I like using a white gel pen. I like to apply highlights to my die cuts. I'm just randomly placing the highlights around the gingerbread and to all the trees. I love doing this because it gives the character a little more interest. So now it's time to assemble the card front. I have my ink blended background, this cute gingerbread man, a handful of trees, a scallop circle cut out of vellum using the Scallop Circle die from the basic collection, and the Merry Christmas sentiment die. I did cut the sentiment die out twice and layer that together using liquid adhesive. So what I am doing here is creating my background scene by adhering the trees haphazardly onto my blended ink panel. I am also making sure that the trees are adhered upright and alternating between the darker tree and the lighter tree. Sometimes it's really hard to find the perfect pattern paper for a background, so I like creating my own background scene using die cuts or even stamps. Doing this creates a more personal touch. I then glued the gingerbread onto the vellum circle and applied foam squares on the back of the vellum piece. I then adhered that onto the card front. Using a pair of sharp scissors, I trim off the trees that hung off the side of the card front. I also wanted to mat this card front onto a black piece of cardstock. So I trimmed the card front down a little from each side, measuring 4 inches by 5¼ inches. I then used foam tape and applied that onto the back of the card front and attached that to the black cardstock. Using liquid adhesive, I glued down the sentiments on the bottom of the cardstock. Now, using some more of the heart embellishment, I applied that throughout the card front. You can definitely use the heart die in the die set and cut that out of red cardstock and apply that onto the card front. I then adhered the card to a white top folding card base, and of course I needed to add more interest. I added some white circles onto the card front using my gel pen. And to top things off, I used glossy accents to apply over the sentiment to give it a little glossy appearance. And here is the finished card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.